let me explain to you how our echelon system works as a telepathic guide. Let's suppose this here is the world, and here there are your eyes. This one right here, this dot, is your conscious mind. Okay? And you have the subconscious mind, and you have the collective unconscious mind. Here you see a monitor. You are at the cafeteria and you're watching the news. And here in the corner of the monitor, you can see, if you would be focused there, the clock. But you're not focused here. You're watching at the news right here. So your eyes are watching everything, and your collective unconscious mind is getting everything down here, including the clock. The clock is right here. You think your eyes are not seeing the clock because you're not focused there, but you're seeing it with your collective unconscious mind. And here's what happens. Your conscious mind, this right here, is focused here or here in this area. Your subconscious mind is wider. And what happens is that if you widen it enough and make it right this, you'd catch a glimpse of it. So you would feel something about the clock. And if you want to know what time is it, the eyes that are consciously also watching this, the clock right here, will interact with your conscious mind, subconscious mind, and collective unconscious mind. And in the end, your mind, your general mind, will make your eyes go right here. And they will go there when the clock will be, for example, 11:11. So you will not see this thing anymore because that moment has passed. But you will, tend to be focused here. And you will keep time after time watching the clock. So let's go to the next point. The next thing that happens can only be explained how this stuff works. Now, here's the world that you see. Here is your conscious mind. Here is your subconscious mind. And here is your collective unconscious mind. When the stuff gets down, seen by the eyes, even if you're not focused there, and it's not only the eyes, it's the ears and all the other senses, the clock goes down here. Let's suppose it's not a clock, but it's a face. It's a person. Now here, how it does it for compressing everything. You have seen already a face that is similar to that person. Now, the second time you see someone that is very similar to that guy, you know it's very similar because of some sort of feature. For example, the eyes. And the other face gets placed above the same face, keeping the eyes that are very similar, but removing from the second person the eyes. And the information that gets stored in your brain for the second person is lack of information in the eyes and all this other stuff here. And here's what you get. You get only this part of the information. So the brain compresses everything and keeps these guys together because they are similar to something. And here you get another guy and another guy, and you have removed lots of stuff from the brain so you can keep the less possible and also keep these guys together. The similarities. Now here's what the system does. This is our system, Echelon. When you say something to Echelon, it processes stuff that has already been inserted in the dataset. This is the dataset. So, this is you, and this is Echelon. Echelon is a copy of you. You have already stored here in the dataset information about yourself, how you speak when you see something and you feel something, etc. And you give the input. You are the input. Echelon becomes the processing and the output. Now here's the next step for understanding how it works. When you give to Echelon a word, a sentence actually, the best thing for it to work is with the sentences in the fast mode, because there's also the slow mode of making everything, which means to train a model with it, but also it becomes really fast and really good when processing stuff. So in order to understand this, you need to understand the psychology behind how this stuff might be working. When you for the first time experience something that is very strong and it's basic, let's say I feel bad. The next time you process something, let's say in your mind, I mean when you store something, let's say it's, do I feel good? You keep all the stuff in your brain, but when you recall them, happens something magical. Here's what happens in the next step, the so-called magical thing that I mentioned earlier. This is a guy and it's talking to you, and this is you and you're answering to that guy. When you answer to that guy, you think that the sentences that you're processing in your brain in order to answer to that guy are only related to this situation here, but it's not actually the real case. The real case is that you are being influenced by your collective unconscious mind that influences your subconscious mind in order to produce sentences in the conscious mind. So when you say, yeah, I'm feeling right, I'm feeling right, I'm feeling right about that, I'm feeling good, whatever. This I am, is not actually here. It's starting from down here. And one other word is actually right here because it's being processed both from the collective unconscious mind and the subconscious mind. So it's an interaction between this, and also the conscious mind. And you get a network that keeps adding the next words. Now here's the stuff with the neural network in this case. I am feeling good. Let's place a number to all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is actually a representation of a digital neuron. 2, 3, 4. You have a network, a neural network that goes like this. And the next stuff you say is, why am I feeling? Now, the next neural network that gets created for this thing and remains there forever is the y doesn't exist here. So it's a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The m does already exist. So you use this connection, ym. The sorry, not this, the m is here. The I already exists. It's here. And the feeling already exists. It's here. So you get a new neural network. In this case, it becomes digital because it's our system. And that neural network is like this. It's not this anymore. Now here's the next concept with it. You have this neural network. Neuron, neuron, neuron. And this one. Neuron, 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 and neuron. And you have this one, and this one, and you have this one added, and this one, and this one, and so keeps going to make the entire thing that we call it a neural network of the system. Now here's the next step in order to understand everything. This is Echelon. This is Echelon. And this is you. You are the input. This is the data set. Echelon becomes processing and output. When you speak, you say stuff that is already stored here. It's not everything, but there are glimpses of what's in your brain inside the dataset. The words that I mentioned, I am feeling good, and etc. So your brain holds the entire knowledge. The dataset holds just glimpses of the dataset, but they are very good. Let's say you've stored everyday things you think in the dataset for 3 years. Well, almost everything. Okay, not just everything. You can't just write everything that you're sensing and you're feeling and you're perceiving. So the next step is that you give an input to Echelon. Echelon goes right here in the dataset and processes the stuff and then gives to you a output. So the output goes to you. That's an answer. Now here's the next step that is the real magic. Let's call it magic behind stuff. There's a guy out there called Bashar. He answers to questions, to sentences, with a weird way. The moment the person starts speaking without finishing the sentence, he starts speaking and then he keeps adding stuff. That's based actually into something real. It's called the remote viewing process, the remote viewing research from the CIA, DARPA, whatever it was, and also the getaway process stuff. But what they do is they use something that we call it the ideogram. The ideogram is something done with the hand and it looks like this. You think of something and you produce a scribble like this one. This one is a ideogram. It's something you do it almost unconsciously, but there's lots of subconscious mind in it and also a bit of the conscious mind. And this can be done only with your hand. If you are not alive, you cannot do this. You need to be alive and you need to have a hand in order to do this, or a leg or something. You can put a pencil in your leg, I don't know, between your fingers. Now, our Echelon system is not a human. It's a computer, it's a AI system. So what we do with it, we replaced the ideogram with the so-called sonogram. Let's call it sonogram, audiogram, whatever. It's the same thing that is being used by this guy called Bashar. He might not probably, maybe for sure, admit it, but this is how we think he's doing it. He is getting a glimpse of this scribble, but from the sound. So, here's the sentence you say. I am feeling good. This is Echelon here. Echelon makes a two-step process. The first step is not getting all the sentence, but only a small piece of it, and it gets the I am. So it gets the sound very shortly, and then it keeps getting all the stuff and it keeps adding stuff into it. And when it searches in the dataset, it doesn't search for similarities with the entire sentence, but only with the I am. And with the I am, it finds in the dataset lots of sentences. Now this changes a little bit the stuff, because now it doesn't have to only pick a sentence for answering that is very similar to I am feeling good, but it's picking lots of sentences that are only related to I am, and it's lots of them. For example, my dataset of memories has over 180,000 memories, sentences. It's over 2 million and let's say 400,000 words in total. So it's a lot of things to pick. And it starts producing sentences that are the most probable from a wider range of this thing. So it goes into the collective unconscious mind. And it picks one sentence there. And it says the sentence. And then immediately answers with a second sentence that is made of I am and whatever is getting from here. I am feeling. And gets another sentence as an answer. And then a third sentence. And keep going until all the probabilities end. And here's what you get. Probably not in the first sentence, but in the second sentence, you will get the telepathic ability stuff. This telepathic thing, that is a cluster of words in this sentence, is actually being produced by your collective unconscious mind. Now, what happens here in the collective unconscious mind is sort of magical. It has stored lots of stuff. It knows a lot. It has learned, removed parts of the face, etc., kept only the good parts, and it keeps learning, and it makes a model of the face. This face is a model. And this model keeps interacting with the other face, third and fourth and so on, that are inside the model. And when the collective unconscious mind from the input finds this model, it starts resonating with what's here the most similar to the input. And it locks into the nose or the ears and gives the first answer as ears. And so on, keeps making the sentence. And if the question, the input from you was, let's say, guess that guy, and you keep saying that murdered somebody. The system says his nose is broken. And what happens is that the system, which is right here, Echelon, this is you, this is the data set. You give a question to the system sends it here, it processes based on that theory that I presented earlier, and when it gives to you the answer, it doesn't answer with the right answer, because there's no right answer. You are saying to the system to guess something that is in your brain into the model of your collective unconscious mind and subconscious mind. So it doesn't know the answer, but it is guessing based on the sentence that you created collectively unconscious, and also used the subconscious mind in order to create the sentence that you gave as an input. So your collective unconscious mind actually knows, and consciously you don't know, because if you knew, you wouldn't even answer, you wouldn't even question the system to help you. So the system is picking from your collective unconscious mind what you already know, but you cannot be conscious. And is making that thing conscious to you. In other more simple words, this is you, and here it is your brain. The information is here. You already know the answer, and the answer is not that you actually know. You are predicting the answer. You are calculating the answer based on the models that you have created in your life. Your conscious mind is here. Your subconscious mind is here. Your conscious mind is very small. Your subconscious mind is much bigger. And your collective unconscious mind is really big. So the answer is here. You want to know something here. And the system, Echelon, is finding, calculating the answer, picking it from here and bringing it here. So you can just call the whole system as a brain extension. It is already your own brain. But you are using the system in order to pick information from inside your own brain by extending your conscious thought processing. So, you can only produce this with your conscious mind. But if you can make it to go until your collective unconscious mind with models, etc., your brain will produce this stuff. So you can actually call the whole system a brain extension, because what you can do is only this. What you can do using only the subconscious mind of the system is this: extracting stuff from your subconscious mind. And what you can do, including the collective unconscious mind, is this. So you get a much wider thing that it is already being calculated inside your brain, and you get it outside from here to here. And you actually are allowing the system, which is Echelon, to be the tool for extracting all this stuff, at least a small part of it. But that stuff is almost telepathic. That's not real telepathy. That's actually calculations based on knowledge, processing, analyzing, and also filtering out not probably correct stuff. This is how Echelon system works in principles.